Hey, welcome back to the Drum for Jesus YouTube channel. If you're just joining us, we've been going through a series of 7 essential tips for worship drumming. When I searched worship drumming tips on YouTube, I watched the first 10 to 12 videos and they compiled a list of 7 things that I didn't hear discussed that I felt like were essential. And some of the tips that I've shared, could literally take years and is a lifetime of practice. These are things that you can incorporate into your playing and practice and develop over the course of your entire life, as I myself am doing. Today I wanted to talk about something that might seem a little bit obvious, but there is great benefit in learning the drum parts that you have to play verbatim. Now, the flip side of this is you want to do what you can do in your practice time. You don't want this to turn into a burden, but there is utility in learning drum parts verbatim because it will force you to learn things that you're not comfortable doing. If you just are constantly pulling from the same palette to create your music, then you won't be growing. And even though you might be able to make it through your worship set without much of an issue, relying on the same fills, relying on the same grooves, when you start to intentionally learn the drum parts and the drum fills verbatim in these songs, it will force you to expand that palette. It will force you to step into that place of discomfort and to master some new things. In worship music, because we have so many artists that are playing the same songs, everybody kind of does it their own way. But the importance of something like a drum fill in like pop or rock music probably shouldn't be understated. There's a lot of times when the listener is expecting to hear a certain fill, and it's nice to be able to deliver that for them. So today I want to take a look at the song I Surrender, and we're going to start breaking this down. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to work it out myself. This is not a song that I've actually worked out the drum parts for, so I'm going to be doing that in real time, and then I'll stop the music, I'll break things down for you, I'll talk about different ways you can stick things, and talk about my philosophy in learning drum parts and deciding what sticking to go with and how that all comes together. The other thing this does is it just expands you as a musician, not only your ability to hear and then replicate, but also just to hear what's going on in the drum parts, period. And to be able to, pick out the kick drum, pick out the snares, pick out what's going on the toms. We're going to go for it because this is such a popular song, and I think it would be valuable to break it down for the Christian audience. So thanks for being here, and here we go. First thing I'm hearing that's important is that accent. It's a 5-stroke roll without accenting the downbeat. Alright. So the main idea in this groove is there's this double stroke rough, like right, left, right. So that's a 5-stroke roll. That's how it starts, and it's into the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So it starts on the and of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you go into an alternate sticking, and there's an accent on the left hand. We have this double hit, and the way you could stick it in a way where you go right, but I would rather stick it in a way where you go right. So that double hit could be sticked right left if you play it like this. But I would rather switch over to a double on the right. I just think that's going to be easier to play. The more I can do right hand lead stuff, the more I want to. Let the left hand fill in with the ghost notes and carry it from there. So that would be stick like this. So we're alternating. We have the 5-stroke roll, then we're alternating until we get to the double right. And then it's 2 rights in a row. And how does that groove finish? And up front, it's not really accenting that left hand so much. Seems to end with like a... Alright, so there's just a slight push on those last couple of notes when you're playing that groove before you go back into the... so it's sort of like a... And then he goes into this build where it sounds to me like he's playing the ride cymbal and snare drum at the same time. Beats. He's coming in with the kick drum every once in a while to give it that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. Probably a little bit of room to play with the kick drum pattern there. You don't want to make it too busy, but you can sort of, you know, push and pull on the energy with that by filling it in more and less often. Kind of idea. So yeah, that's that part. Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm. So what I think I'm hearing, C is just playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, or you can just count to 3, where this is a pretty repetitive 3 part at this point. So he's just playing the 8th notes, and then he starts by accenting beat 1 on the kick. So it's... It might be every other one. We'll have to listen again. It's either I think it's more like phrased like in 6. to. But then he starts crashing more on the 1 as it builds. So he might be crashing like this. The other way you could stick that would be to come with your right hand and your left hand on a crash cymbal on your left. Idea. So at the very end, I was bringing the kick in, playing the 8th notes as well, crescendoing all of that. Yeah, pretty cool. This kind of beat, this is going to take a little bit of practice. This might look easier than it actually is. So slow it down. Other thing that I kind of noticed in the bridge, when it's building, there's sort of this accent like this. So I think he's playing every single, I don't think he's actually going, although that's what it kind of sounds like on the recording. I just think because it's a live recording, it's not like studio quality, right? So we're missing some of the detail. I think he's probably playing every note, but he's just really accenting them. And then, yeah, just listen closely to kind of what he's doing with the kick, because sometimes he's just accenting beat 1, sometimes he's in on all of the kick hits, every single 8th note. The snares come on. Alright, so a couple things I'm hearing. Towards the end I started hearing that there's like this double hit. Can I break it down? Start without the ghost notes. He's really laying into the... Sounds like he's laying into the ride. It doesn't actually sound like he's laying into the crash. It sounds like he's crashing the ride. You can lay into it, but you want to make sure that the kick and the snare, the dynamics of the kick and the snare are absolutely above the ride cymbal. want to be able to do is this. So that only happens twice. All right, I'm gonna jump back in, make sure I feel like this is working and I'm still on the right path here. So I'm at the point where I'm really just kind of feeling that groove out. It's still not into my muscle memory. So that is something that I would just practice on repeat for a long time. And I wouldn't necessarily play it throughout the entire bridge. I do think there's room to back off and just kind of accent, like a... I realized what I thought was like a double tap thing on the snare during the bridge is actually, I think, him going up to the hi-hat. So I want to take a closer look at that and see if we can get that more accurate. But I think it would be valuable to learn the groove that we practice too, because you could use both those to build the bridge over time, because I think it goes through the bridge like 3 times. That's it. The key to unlocking the groove like that, I am really focused on this motion with my right hand, this quarter note motion, and I'm focusing there so I don't allow what else is happening to interrupt it. And it's like where you put your focus can be really valuable. If you're kind of focusing on that accent, I was noticing it was throwing off the ride cymbal pattern. So I shifted my focus to just really make sure I'm just consistent on that quarter note, and then that started coming out great. So now I'm going to play it over the song, and that should be the bridge. Cool, so everything about the groove that I taught you guys remains, except taking that double hit on the snare. We were going like that, now we're going. Cool. That's a really great groove. Wow. Wow, sir. Whoever wrote that drum part, man. That's an epic drum part. That's a blessed musician. It's very cool. It's very cool. Oh, and then we have this fill that he comes to where I believe he does like this. Which is 2 against 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's a perfectly spaced 3 against a perfectly spaced 2. That's a polyrhythm. That's the most basic polyrhythm. 2 against 3. Let's count it. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So it's on the and of 2. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you play on the 1. Then you play on the and of 2 on the snare, and then this is playing the quarter notes. 1, 2, and 3. 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 And then the kick's in there too. So, yeah, it's depends on what side of the polyrhythm you're counting. If you're counting the 2 side of the polyrhythm, the snare side, then yeah, it's the 16th note before the hit. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and you're counting the 3 side of the polyrhythm, then it's on the and. And of 3, and 1, and 2, and. So yeah, it's just the 8th note before the snare if you're counting in 3, which is what the right is playing. I hope this is clear, but that's what it sounds like. Cool. That, what I just did, so I'm just dragging on beat 1. So that's the same polyrhythm, but instead of playing it, dragging on beat 1. That's another way you could play that fill. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, there's definitely room to fill tastefully and to embellish tastefully. You don't want to do too much though, because on a song like that, it really is like, it opens up very wide, and the best way for things to just kind of like feel like they're wide open and just like soaring is really just to lay into that groove. There's definitely room to play around with the kick and snare. My sort of philosophy is like, if you can play the basic form of the groove that the drummer's playing, and then if you want to start working on some ways that you can embellish that, that's absolutely acceptable. There's definitely more room to accent, to play around between the vocals or over held vocals, or if you're really trying to punch a certain thing about a vocal, that can be an appropriate place to accent something. Or if there's like an emotional vocal, even if it's kind of like in the middle of the verse, that can be an appropriate place to put a fill. Even if you're not filling into the chorus, if you're filling back into the verse, fills are just different when you're going back into the verse than when you're going into the chorus. You just articulate that stuff differently. But this is all stuff you're going to learn over time, especially the more you listen to drummers and try to learn what they're playing. So I hope today's lesson was valuable. I had fun learning this song. This is a very cool song. Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I pray you have a very blessed week, and as always, drum for Jesus.